Hello and welcome aboard Tech Gamer Airlines. In today's flight, we're going to be flying from Morristown, New Jersey to Nantucket, Massachusetts, and in F-18, we're going to be breaking a whole lot of sound barriers and having a whole lot of fun. So stay tuned, we'll be right back. Let's do this. Okay everyone, welcome back to today's flight. This is Microsoft Flight Simulator being played on a Microsoft Xbox Series X with a Thrustmaster T.Flight HOTAS 1 flight stick. So let's get it started here. We're going to be flying today in an F-18 from Morristown, New Jersey to Nantucket, Massachusetts. Let's go to World Map here, and we're going to make sure that we're selected our F-18, which we are. Liveries, we're going to set it as the Maverick livery. Weight and balance is set. Failures off. Customization all good. Alright, select our departure point. We're going to be flying out of Morristown Municipal Airport today. And we'll select runway 13 as our departure. And Nantucket Memorial. Let's zoom in here to see what this runways look like. So we'll be landing on runway 24 today, which should work. So what we'll do is we'll head inbound off the coast, come around and land on that runway. So let's go ahead here and check the weather. Multiplayer is live, traffic is live, weather is set for live. So it says here that today's flight will take us 52 minutes. We are going to get there a heck of a lot faster. We're going to do some afterburners and break some sound barriers here. So let's do this. Let's set this to fly. So while we're waiting, as I said, this is Microsoft Flight Simulator, the latest world update, being played on a Microsoft Xbox Series X. I have connected my Thrustmaster T.Flight HOTAS 1 flight stick. If you've not seen some of my other videos, this is an amazing entry-level flight stick, and I have a bunch of review videos and technical configuration videos on this very flight stick on my YouTube channel. So when this video is done, you should check those out. Really cool flight stick. It works amazing. I have at least 3,000 something hours on it probably, between this and a couple other games, and it's so much fun. So with that said, we are ready to get this started. We are in a Boeing F-18E/F Super Hornet, and we are ready to fly. So we are on the runway. Let's go ahead and check a couple things here, especially around Flight Assistant, because some of this stuff can sometimes get a little bit annoying. Taxi ribbon, landing ribbon, AI piloting, AI anti-stall protection is off, auto trim is off, AITC, that's air traffic control, radio communications is on, AI piloting cursor mode is on, stall speed, and we are ready to rock and roll. So let's get it started. So the F-18E has afterburner capabilities in it that rates the engines higher than the normal rated thrust and will give you increased speed. So I've gone ahead and made sure that is preset in my Thrustmaster T.Flight HOTAS 1 flight control stick profile, and it is set to the previous button, so the little white button right here. Very important when you're flying in jets to have that if you want to be able to hit supersonic speeds. And the same thing applies in a jumbo jet. If you want reverse thrust, you need to make sure that you have those button assignments set before you fly. Very important. Very, very important in a jet, especially if you're landing on a runway that's very short. So let's see how this goes. So here we are at Morristown Municipal Airport in our F-18 Fighter Jet. And we are ready to fly. We have runway clearances here. So, let's disengage the brake by pressing A. Parking brake disengaged. Let's throttle up to 100% of rated thrust. And let's kick the tires and light the fires. Afterburners on. At this point, you'd be thrown back in your chair the minute you pull up here, which is right now. So we have a positive rate. Let's put the landing gear up. Landing gear is on its way up. And let's hit our way over to Nantucket.
New York approach Boeing 2582 is type Boeing 2 miles southeast of Morristown, 2,500 feet. Request flight following. Squawk 6344, Boeing 582.
Now, when you play a Microsoft Flight Simulator, especially when you leave the
Boeing 582. Approach Boeing 2582.
air traffic control stuff on, it will take care of all that stuff for you. When you leave it set to see live players, that's what all those are there. There are people flying in and around New York City, because New York City is a very popular place to fly. And we are approaching the sound barrier here. You can see we've essentially passed the speed of sound, because you can hear the sonic booms when you move the camera around. And we're going to head towards Nantucket. You can see New York City off in the distance there. That's downtown. You can see it's coming up right above the nose of my plane is that little marker. You can see it right there before the cloud covers. That is downtown and the World Trade Center. You can see Midtown. I can see the Empire State Building. That patch of green right above where it says Engine 1, that is Central Park. And the Jackie Onassis Reservoir. LaGuardia is right up ahead too. That is right above the Engine 1 right now. That is a LaGuardia airport. Very popular airport around New York City. And not to sell it short, Newark Airport is right behind us. But our focus today is not the tri-state area. It is Nantucket. So we are heading there now. So if you've never been to Nantucket before, it is a beautiful place to visit. You can get there very easily by helicopter or plane if you have a money tree growing in your backyard. If you do not have a money tree growing in your backyard, like most of us don't, you can take a ferry from Hyannis in Cape Cod to Nantucket, and it is about a 1-hour boat ride. You could bring a car on the ferry as well, depending on which ferry you take. It's a lot of fun to do. Cape Cod, Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard, beautiful places to visit. Martha's Vineyard, if you go there, I do highly recommend you bring a car or on the ferry. If you don't want to spend the money to bring a car or don't have a vehicle, you can rent one on Martha's Vineyard. I recommend renting it in advance so that it's ready when you get there. Passing by a live player on the left there. So we are inbound to Nantucket. Today's flight is basically going to take us over Long Island. We're going to follow along the northern section of Long Island till we get to the eastern tip of it, and we'll head out into the ocean. To the left will be Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Cape Cod, and then this flight path will bring us right to Nantucket Airport, which we will we're going to keep today's flight around 10,000 so feet. just so we can see some ground details, what little there is over Long Island.
0.05 for Boeing 582.
So I'll try not to talk over the air traffic control.
0,500 feet.
We're still connected to New York approach right now. So air traffic control, I typically don't mess around with too much. I just let the AI handle it. Can see some view of some houses and stuff on the Long Island there. You can hear that sonic boom when we change views, which is pretty cool. So with the F-18s and the F-14s or any of the fighter jets you can acquire, you don't have to worry so much about structural damage when you're flying with afterburners. They're pretty resilient about that. Obviously, don't bank too hard. Don't pull too many Gs. Don't put your landing gear down when you're going 600 knots. You know, a lot of the common sense stuff applies.
5.975, Boeing 582.
Switching to 125
Approach
there.
2582, 8,400 feet.
Let's have a little fun while we're flying, shall we? Woo. People are probably looking up wondering what the heck's that plane doing, because they're hearing a giant sonic boom as they go by.
124.525, Boeing 582. Boston Center, Boeing 2582, 9,300 feet.
So we'll be coming up here on the end of Long Island soon, the easternmost tip, and we'll be heading out into nothing but ocean.
125.975, Boeing
I see Sweet Kill,
New York approach, Boeing
Sweet Kill 74 off to the left there.
for Boeing 582. Boston Center, Boeing 2582, 9,900 feet. Going to 125.975, Boeing 582. New York
So,
approach, Boeing 2582.
like I said, I am playing this game today on a Thrustmaster T.Flight HOTAS 1 flight stick, just to show you here how smooth it stays this level. And we are on our way. Just continuing to fly here towards Nantucket.
Going to 124.85, Boeing 582. Boston Center, Boeing 2582, 9,900 feet.
We're just hanging around 10,000 feet. We are 100 nautical miles away from
5.75,
Nantucket.
582.
So once we get to about 50 nautical miles, we're going to start to slow down because this jet is super fast. And as we all know, speedy things go in, speedy things come out. If anybody knows what that's from, definitely let me know. I think it's actually fast things go in, fast things go out, something like that. If you can name that game, you'll win a prize. Drop a comment in this video if you know the name of it. So basically, as I was saying, this plane goes really fast, so it obviously takes a long time to slow down, so distance-wise. So we're going to start to slow down about 50 nautical miles from our ultimate destination. We're passing Montauk, New York here, right up ahead. Here below us, we'll leave the, this is the end of Long Island. Here it comes now. Beautiful place to visit. A lot of money out on certain parts of Long Island. And continuing out into the ocean, just to show you how fast we're going. If you remember, just not even a minute ago, I said we were 100 nautical miles away. We're already 82 nautical miles away. So we are booking it. So I'm going to need to slow it down soon. Once we get past Brick Island, we'll start to bring the speed down. Just to show you here some details in the game that are super important. Watch what happens when you throttle back. You can actually see where the plane like pulls back. Now, watch what happens when I throttle up again and then I hit the afterburner. Watch what the plane does. You can see how it moves forward. That actually happens in the real world. So, a very nice attention to detail in Flight Simulator here. Believe it or not, I've been in a real fighter jet once. It is really cool, but it takes a lot to get used to. I flew in it once. I know someone who got me a ride on one a couple of years ago, and it's cool. But man, they don't mess around. They fly like this. No problem. When they take off, they'll do like almost like a 80-degree bank, just to get off like when they take off. These kind of planes can do that kind of stuff like that, and won't even blink an eye at it. I mean, these are fighter jets, so you know what they're designed for. In real life, you would never be flying this kind of plane from Morristown, New Jersey to Nantucket, Massachusetts. You would be flying in a propeller plane or, you know, a Cessna Citation private jet or even a jumbo jet. Nantucket Memorial can handle a jumbo jet landing at it. Martha's Vineyard has an airport too, I believe. Cape Cod does not. I don't think. I think you'd have to land at Boston, Nantucket, or Martha's Vineyard. So let's get some altitude down here. I'm not going to correct the altitude settings for this altitude. I'm going to bring it back down. Pretty nice view there. You can see there's a lot of air traffic behind me because, again, more populated areas. You look ahead, you see one plane, two planes, actually, I see two. So we are less than 50 nautical miles away from Nantucket Memorial Airport. Sometimes what you'll see in this game, even when you leave air traffic control on, automatic, sometimes you won't get landing clearances and stuff like that. It happens a lot. I've flown this way many times, and I can't tell you how many times I've come into land not getting any landing clearances, and you try and land anyway because you're either running low on gas or, you know, it's just in your nature to want to land on the runway, and when you try to, there's another plane sitting there. Because obviously, you know, but they don't tell you about the deviation or the aircraft ahead of you. I've noticed that happen a couple of times when I've played this game. So we'll see what happens this time. It's always different. "33 nautical miles away." We're at 5,000 feet. There's a low ceiling today. So what do I mean by a low ceiling? A ceiling is defined as the bottom of the clouds. So if you're standing on the ground and you look up and you see nothing but clouds, the height of the bottom of the clouds, the altitude of the bottom of the clouds is what they call the ceiling. So if you hear the pilot say the ceiling is 2,000 feet or the air traffic controls say the ceiling is 2,000 feet, that means the bottom of the clouds to the ground is 2,000 feet. Or from the ground to the bottom of the clouds, you're at 2,000 feet. So super important when you're landing, especially if you're landing by, visual flight rules or anything like that. You want to know what the ceiling is. So you want to listen to the air traffic controllers' call outs because they're giving you useful information.
6.1, Boeing 582. Boston approach, Boeing 2582.
So that's us
500 feet.
talking to Boston approach. Now you want to be super careful when you're flying over the ocean and you're flying at low altitudes because it's hard to see a point of reference when you don't have one. There's nothing around you but water. So you got to watch your altitude like a hawk because especially if you're flying at night or anything like that, you can, before you know it, you're 500 feet off the ground and you're like, oh crap. So we are 12 nautical miles away from Nantucket Memorial, so it's time to slow it down some more here. I've been trying to burn off some forward speed anyway on this flight, hence why you've seen me kind of bogging up and down, stuff like that. So let's take a look at what we got going on here. There's Nantucket, altitude 400 feet. Let's switch to the external view to give you guys a better view of what we're dealing with. I see a plane up ahead. So you got to be super careful with the fighter jets. When they start to slow down, you can stall out super quick. But at the same time, you got to make sure you keep your speed up. So we're actually going to... Let's do this. Let's bring this over Nantucket here. And we'll bring her around for a landing. So welcome to Nantucket, folks. How long can the captain say, for? I believe Quagmire's record is 11 seconds. There's the runway off to the right there. And passing over beautiful Nantucket. Obviously not going to be rendered very well in Flight Simulator, but still beautiful. So we're bring our landing gear down here and try and... There's the runway I'm looking for, so we're gonna go off towards the end of the island a little bit here, bring the plane around to the left, and line up with that runway. There's the runway right there.
Boeing 582 traffic in sight.
And looks like we're going to make it. Welcome to Nantucket, everyone. Applying the brakes for a nice, gentle, rolling stop. And welcome to Nantucket. We have arrived. Hope everybody enjoyed this video, as I did making it. We flew today from Morristown, New Jersey to Nantucket, Massachusetts in F-18. As always, if you could please click that like button, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and make sure you enable notifications. I'm going to have new and exciting content coming soon. Thanks a lot, everybody, and I will see you around. Keep on gaming.